this first exercise is just a exercise to get some lumbar mobility and some thoracic mobility kind of in that mid-spine. What you want to do is start out on your hands and knees. You want your hands right underneath your shoulders and your knees right below your hips. So what he's going to do, he's going to be in a nice straight line and pretty flat through there, and he's going to roll up his hips underneath him. Roll your hips underneath you and rock up like a tip up.
I'm trying.
You weren't doing it? There you go. And then drop down and say, keep your arms straight. Don't let your arms bend. And then go back up and go back down. So just getting that motion in that spine and that pelvis, just to get it to kind of start to move and just to kind of get some movement through there. Not a lot of thoracic movement is not what you're really looking for. You're looking for more movement lower. Okay, head should stay straight. You don't want to see that head be dropping way down. So the head just kind of in, the chin tucked with that. The next exercise is just another nice mobility exercise, was walking your hands to one side to the other side. Just kind of doing a little side bend. So kind of walk on around here and trying to get that nice curve of the whole spine. And then walking around to the other. So the start position is just the same as that first one. And trying to get that curve. The hips stay pretty much still. Go ahead and go back. So just going back and forth, and you're not moving the pelvis a whole lot. It just stays pretty still as you walk side to side. Good. Okay. And then the next one is a way just to work on some stability and get the hip mobility going. So what Jim's going to do is to tighten up his abdominals, pull in those abdominals, and then to sit back towards his heels, keeping his back as flat as possible. Good, and see how his head stays nice and straight with that? He's pulling back, that bottom almost tips up. You'll feel like your tailbone is lifting up as you go back, as you keep on there. So if I were to put a rod on him, it should stay pretty straight. Now that one tucked under a little bit too far, so we want to see that come back through and be a nice straight line as he comes up with that.
So again, we're just working on flexibility of the hip.
Flexibility, and then also a little bit of stability in that abdominal, starting to get you to be stabilizing in that spine a little bit better.
Okay.
The next one, you're going to have you do a little thoracic rotation, so getting some movement in that back. This is where Jim was very rounded in his shoulders and his back and didn't have much mobility, couldn't extend backwards and couldn't rotate very far. So put your hand on your forehead, and he's going to rotate under or up, looking under his armpit, and then back up and going down and coming up. Again, the pelvis stays still. He's keeping his abdominals tight. And the way you really want to push this is to the up part. So going down, coming back up really will help that extension. Go ahead and do that with the other arm going through there. So they can kind of see all that way through here so that you can really get that nice rotation and extension. Good. All right. The next one is another stability exercise. So it's holding in those abdominals, that nice same position, everything straight, everything square. And then he's going to raise one arm, thumb pointed up, and the leg going out. So we want that thumb up, the leg out. And we're working that hip, the shoulder blade muscles, and those abdominals. So trying to get a little better, the hip to be able to extend a little better, and the shoulder blade to come in through there. Now if you have trouble doing that, go ahead and come back down. A nice way to start that is to keep your foot bent, reach your leg out, and just touch your foot down on the table or on the floor here. So start there and then lift it up from there. You see how his leg is not lifting up higher than his hip. A common error is people lifting up way too high and they go into rotation and they arch their back. So the spine stays stable. Sorry about that. And as we go ahead and take it back and out. Good. And holding it for a few seconds is good because then it makes you have to stabilize better with that. Good. So the flexibility exercises, you may do 5 or 10 of each of those just to kind of get loosened up. And then when you start doing these little harder ones like that bird dog, you may only want to do 5 or 10 of those at a time. And you're only doing where the last couple are more difficult. With IBM, you do not want to fatigue the muscle, so you don't want to overdo it to where you're overly fatigued. You want to just stay within your limits, and so it'd be better to underdo it than to over push yourself.